Is it possible that the absence we feel is not, in reality, annihilation, but a reformulation of closeness? If modern science, that rigorous discipline of the tangible, whispers to us incessantly that energy is eternal, that it is neither created nor destroyed, but only transformed, why, with stubborn and painful conviction, do we insist that the spirit, that supreme manifestation of conscious energy, simply vanishes into nothingness upon crossing the threshold known as death? I, as your mentor in the alchemy of the soul, tell you that silence is an illusion. There are lingering echoes, a subtle alphabet operating just beyond the periphery of your everyday perception. We have been conditioned, through centuries of dogma and fear of the unknown, to believe that mourning is the acceptance of a final goodbye, the construction of an insurmountable wall of silence between this plane of dense matter and the realm of the liberated spirit. But in the cracks of that pane, in the deep tear that only true love can leave when a loved one departs, resides a formidable and persistent truth. Love, in its purest and most vibratory essence, creates quantum bridges that neither the density of matter nor the solemn mystery of the grave can tear down or erase. Tonight, we will not simply discuss theories. We will walk together across those invisible bridges, those etheric pathways that expanded consciousness reveals to us. We will delve into the transcendent and visionary readings of a monumental seer, the 20th century sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce. Through his profound trance states, he bequeathed to us a clear and detailed map, a guide to discerning the whispers, the coded signs, and the silent visits of those who, though freed from the limitations of the physical body, remain intimately connected to our emotional and energetic sphere. We will not seek ethereal phantoms or dramatic specters. We will seek the 7 coded manifestations that demonstrate that the fundamental relationship, the covenant of the heart, continues to evolve. We will speak of the subtle hours of the dissolution of the veil, the forgotten and symbolic language of messenger animals, how consciousness uses electrical anomalies as a tangible effort to make contact, and the unmistakable difference between a processing dream and a genuine visitation dream. This journey toward profound understanding demands more than mere intellectual curiosity or a fleeting desire for entertainment. It demands total commitment, a radical opening of your belief system. If, deep within your being, you yearn for the certainty that the golden thread of affection has not been broken, if you seek validation for those unsettling experiences that logic dismisses as mere imagination, then allow me to establish a foundational pact this very moment. Right now, ignite the flame of this quest. Subscribe to this channel, not as a mere meaningless digital ritual, but as a conscious act of declaring to the universe, I align myself with the truth. If you are ready to receive this wisdom that challenges convention and comforts the soul, leave here your unwavering decree, your resonance. I open my heart to see and feel what was once invisible. So be it, and let the truth begin to unfold before us. The first master key, after transient physical perception, lies in the animal messengers. This is not mere folklore superstition. It is the understanding that disembodied consciousness, lacking its dense bodily matrix, often seeks biological intermediaries that operate on liminal frequencies. The animal is a living totem, a vibrational bridge. I am not referring to your everyday pet, but to the anomalous apparition, the singular visitor that breaks the pattern of the usual fauna. Think of the hummingbird unusually hovering in your window, or the butterfly that defies environmental logic by landing on an object that belonged to the loved one. A biological insistence where there should only be randomness. These are, metaphorically, sealed envelopes containing the energetic signature of the departed person. The choice of animal is not random. It resonates with an archetypal meaning or a specific personal connection. The owl of wisdom, the robin of perseverance, acting as a biological beacon in the fog of grief. When the spirit cannot fully materialize, it imprints its intention on the least resistant psyche of a being in nature, using its movement and presence to confirm, "I am here and I am free." The unusual persistence of this encounter, the unmistakable feeling of knowing that it is not by chance, is the psychic signature of the visitation. From the visual and cinematic manifestation of animals, we move to the most primal and evocative sense: olfactory alchemy, familiar aromas. This sign is especially potent because it evades the intellectual censorship of the eye and ear. It strikes directly at the limbic memory, that part of the mind that stores deep emotion before logic. We are not talking about residual odors in an enclosed space, nor about suggestion. We are talking about the instantaneous and fleeting burst of a specific perfume, the exact aroma of the tobacco your father smoked, or a baked cake only your grandmother made, appearing in a space where such a material source is physically impossible, dissipating as quickly as it arrived. The disembodied consciousness manipulates the energetic molecules of the air, not necessarily to create the physical smell itself, but to directly stimulate the olfactory bulb of the perceiver, triggering an inescapable cascade of emotional recognition. The intensity and specificity of the aroma are crucial. It must be so precise that it rules out any environmental coincidence. It is proof that the spirit uses memory as its most effective lever to remind us of its active existence. If the brain were to try to rationalize this, it would search for the physical source. But when the higher mind detects the impossibility, the certainty of its presence takes hold. The fragrance becomes the specter of remembrance, an invisible caress that can only be interpreted by the loving heart. The next sign leads us to the infrastructure of modernity, electrical anomalies. This is, perhaps, the point where scientific materialism struggles most to impose its skepticism, and where metaphysical truth becomes most palpable. Consciousness is fundamentally pure energy. To manifest or interact with our dense third-dimensional plane, the disembodied entity needs to steal or borrow readily available ambient energy. Our electrical system, with its constant flow of electrons, becomes the easiest source for manipulation. The switch that flickers for no reason, the light bulb that explodes at the moment of an intimate thought, the freshly charged battery that instantly dies near you, the appliance that turns itself on or off. This interference is the sign of a colossal effort. Let me be brutally clear. And here is the crucial turning point that will redefine your perception. It's not that your loved one is playing with the light for fun. The profound truth is that, existing in a less dense dimension, the mere intention to influence or communicate demands a monumental expenditure of energy, a titanic struggle against the laws of Newtonian physics that still govern us. Every flicker of a light is a cry of effort. The spirit is not a vaporous being, free from constraints. It is a being that strives painfully to touch our reality. When you see that light bulb flicker, don't ignore it. Recognize the energetic sacrifice being made simply to tell you, my existence is real and tangible, even though my form has changed. Electricity is the visible residue of its attempt at partial materialization. This energetic struggle prepares us for the most intimate and, at the same time, most frequently misinterpreted field of encounter: visitation dreams. We must distinguish between processing dreams, that dreamlike theater where the mind works through grief, and genuine contact. The visitation dream is unmistakably different and possesses its own energetic signature. First, it has a hyper-realistic clarity. There is none of the usual fog of dream logic, but rather the feeling of being awake and fully present. Second, the loved one appears healthy, irradiant, was often younger, and always conveys a clear message of peace, guidance, or validation. There is never confusion, sadness, or lament in their voice or expression. The third key is the physical sensation that washes over you upon waking. The absolute, visceral certainty that it was not a mere dream, but a real encounter on a different plane. Many awaken with the sensation of having been touched, embraced, or with an elevated body temperature. Holding on to the emotion of the reunion, in the dream of visitation, the disembodied consciousness manages to lower its vibrational frequency enough to enter the etheric plane of the sleeper, who is already partially freed from physical rigidity. It is a bilateral portal, where both parties are conscious at some level of the interaction. If they awaken with the solution to a conflict or feeling a profound calm that erases pain, they have been visited. It is the sacred space where the ego and disbelief have the least defense. Finally, we address the sacred geometry of the universe, numerical synchronicities. Transcendent consciousness perceives the tapestry of time in a non-linear way. It seeks mathematical patterns, resonances, and echoes to get your attention, using the universal language of quantity. It's not about seeing 1111 once. It's about seeing a loved one's birth date, an anniversary number, or a repeating number sequence, like 333 or 444, that consistently appears on clocks, receipts, license plates, or book pages, precisely when you are thinking intensely about them or in urgent need of guidance. These numbers act as anchors of consciousness. Spirit programs these moments of alignment into the temporal matrix, hoping that your mind, now lifted by the thought of your loved one, is open to receiving confirmation of continuity. It is the most subtle and constant form of communication, a mathematical confirmation embedded in the infrastructure of reality that life operates under a perfect order, and that, within that order, your bond remains encoded and active. Now, take a deep breath. Allow these 6 manifestations to settle into the silence of your mind. They are not isolated phenomena. They are a coherent system. Truth does not require blind faith, but only the validation of your own experience. Take this moment to honestly confront your own memories. How many of these signs have you ignored for fear of appearing irrational? Let the light of truth illuminate those dark corners. The inner alchemy begins now. The second sign of manifestation, deeply rooted in biology, is revealed through this is not a mere biological coincidence, but a deliberate use of the lower consciousness channel. The spirit, lacking a physical body for direct interaction, seeks vehicles of lesser egoic resistance, creatures whose instinct operates free from the filter of human reason. The sudden appearance of a bird that lands on your shoulder in an unnatural place, or the butterfly that enters an enclosed space and remains unafraid, acts as a temporary energetic projection. It is a fleeting possession, not of control, but of conduit for a signal. The animal becomes a biological anchor for the vibration of love or remembrance that the loved one wishes to impart. The key is the anomaly in the animal's behavior. It acts with a familiarity uncharacteristic of its wild nature, pausing or gazing at you with a depth that seems to transcend its own intellect. These messengers are especially common in species culturally associated with metamorphosis or lightness, such as dragonflies, hummingbirds, or certain types of migratory birds. The spirit selects these creatures because their own energetic matrix is malleable and swift. They are natural bridges between the ethereal and the tangible. The encounter is usually brief, but charged with intense emotional resonance. Look for the break in the pattern, a deer that pauses for too long, an insect that lands on a personal object of the deceased. This event is not a miracle, but a directed energy transfer, an echo of the soul manifested in a biological body borrowed for a moment to validate continuity. The third sign, perhaps the most primitive and direct, resides in the sense of smell is the only sense that has a direct route to the limbic system, the center of emotion and memory in the brain, bypassing the filters of the rational cortex. When a spirit manages to project an olfactory essence, the exact perfume, the specific scent of tobacco, the aroma of a particular flower, or the fragrance of a meal that only the person prepared, it is attacking memory at its most impregnable root. It is a manifestation that requires no symbolic interpretation. It is pure, immediate, and intimately personal. The appearance of these aromas is a demonstration of molecular manipulation at a subatomic level, or the phantom activation of neural memory without the physical presence of the chemical catalyst. The spirit manages to recreate the energetic signature of that fragrance. The irrefutable proof is the specificity of the aroma and its appearance in an environment where its source is absolutely impossible. If the smell is universal, generic smoke or common food, it is dismissed. But if it is the exact scent of your father's old lotion in the middle of an open field or in a sterile room, you are witnessing a manifestation of projected will. It is an invisible caress, a reminder that the chemical memory of the loved one remains active in the subtle dimension. And so we arrive at the fourth sign, one that begins to demonstrate the tremendous energy that this communication requires. Here, the spirit operates directly on the electromagnetic field of our reality, which is essentially electrical. The spirit, as pure consciousness, is also a highly organized form of energy. To interact with our physical plane, it must draw energy from its environment. This manifests as lights flickering repeatedly for no apparent reason, light bulbs exploding at the moment of intense introspection, or electronic device batteries instantly draining when a person's name or thought of is mentioned. The spirit uses the available electrical current as a means to momentarily charge its presence. Here is the crucial truth that most mentors will conceal. These anomalies are not always signs of power or a simple greeting. Often, they are evidence of the intensity of effort and, sometimes, of desperation. The spirit expends an immeasurable amount of energy to move the needle of existence in our dense reality. The flickering is not just a "I am here," but a "I am struggling to reach you." When an electrical anomaly is violent, repeated short circuits, localized blackouts, it can be an urgent warning sign or the manifestation of a soul that has not yet found complete peace, projecting its anguish onto the surrounding energy infrastructure. It is high-stakes communication, revealing the energetic sacrifice behind the intention. The fifth sign takes us to the sacred ground of the mind, a space that the spirit can invade with less physical resistance. We must distinguish between ordinary sleep, which is simply the processing of daytime waste, and the visitation dream, which is a scheduled appointment on the astral plane. The visitation dream is hyperreal, not absurd. The deceased person appears whole, healthy, and radiant, and the interaction is logical and emotionally coherent. There are no elements of fantasy. The conversation is concise, conveying a clear message of comfort, warning, or instruction that the conscious mind could not have generated. The spirit orchestrates these encounters because, in the theta state, deep sleep, the veil of the rational ego dissolves, and the subconscious mind becomes a pure receiver, directly attuned to the frequency of unconditional love. The proof of the authenticity of a visitation dream is the quality of the emotion that washes over you upon waking. Not the confusion of an ordinary dream, but a profound peace, an unshakable awareness, or even the tactile sensation of an embrace that lingers in your consciousness for hours, as if the reality of the dream were more solid than the reality of waking life. It is the most intimate contact, the reunion that transcends space and time. Finally, the sixth sign, already briefly mentioned, but which requires an immersion in the metaphysics of reality. The matrix of existence is coded. Numbers, are the fundamental architecture of the universe. The spirit uses this infrastructure to leave messages that the rational mind cannot ignore. It's not just about seeing 1111, but about the appearance of highly significant and personal sequences, anniversaries, ages, postal codes that emerge at the exact moment when your need for guidance is greatest. These numbers are programmed anchors in temporal reality, activated by the intensity of your thoughts. The beloved, operating from a non-local state of consciousness, has the ability to influence the flow of probability, ensuring that these numerical codes stand out precisely at the epicenter of your attention. When a number you shared appears on a license plate, a receipt, and a television screen within the span of an hour, it is an intentional triangulation. It is mathematical confirmation that the bond has not been broken, but rather recoded in a language that transcends biology. It is proof that your life is being observed and guided from the realm of structural perfection. Now, after this journey through the depths of manifestation, the inner alchemy must once again perform its work. Allow the weight of these trials to settle. Let go of the skepticism imposed by the outside world. Focus solely on the lived experience, on the memory that resonates. The truth needs to be proven to no one but yourselves. Feel the silence and allow certainty to blossom. Soft background music, decreasing volume, intimate tone. We must now turn our gaze to the biological realm, where consciousness, in seeking to manifest itself, uses vehicles that vibrate at a frequency intermediate between ether and dense matter. We speak of animal messengers, sign 2. These are not mere ornithological or entomological coincidences. They are living portals, temporarily attuned to the frequency of the beloved. Observe the persistence of certain species. The cardinal, dressed in a vibrant red that symbolizes blood and the vigor of life, or the robin, with its fiery breast, appear in an unusual way. It is not a fleeting glimpse. It is a stationary presence, a sustained gaze, an absolute lack of fear in your presence. The deceased injects a portion of their subtle energy into the behavior of this creature, instructing it to violate its own natural protocol of avoidance, so that you are forced to acknowledge their message. The location is as precise as a telegram, perched on the kitchen windowsill while you prepare the dish they loved, or at the foot of the gravestone at the exact moment of your visit. Butterflies, particularly monarchs and hummingbirds, act as emblems of transformation and psychic resurrection. Their erratic flight and improbable appearance in inappropriate seasons or places are a signature. They represent the soul freed from its physical cocoon. If a butterfly, with specific color patterns that remind you of the lost being, lands on you or remains unusually still, do not see it as an insect. See it as a biological mirror momentarily held by an invisible force, reflecting that the metamorphosis from death has been successfully completed. At home, your pet is a seismic detector of astral presence. Dogs, with their sense of smell that perceives beyond our chemical spectrum, and cats, ancient guardians of dimensional thresholds, exhibit behaviors that cannot be attributed to chance. They bark or meow at an empty spot in the room, follow an invisible path with their gaze, or curl up on the bed that the absent loved one used to share, but they do so with a posture that suggests that the place is no longer empty. Your pet is your most faithful witness, the living confirmation that the energy persists. This manifestation, however, requires a considerable expenditure of subtle energy to influence the biology of another being. It is an act of indirect communication. But what happens when the loved one wishes to evoke a sensory memory that does not depend on sight, but on the sense most deeply rooted in primal memory? They need a vehicle that impacts the limbic system without requiring physical contact. This bridge is sign 3, familiar sense. The appearance of familiar sense is a masterful orchestration of quantum physics applied to memory. Smell is the only sense whose main nerve connects directly to the limbic system, bypassing the rational pathway of the thalamus. When you suddenly perceive the unmistakable aroma of the pipe tobacco your grandfather smoked, or the exact perfume your mother wore, it's not a molecular residue trapped in time, it's an instantaneous energetic synthesis. This fragrance manifests with a density and chemical specificity that defies all material explanation. It is not a generic cologne scent. It is the specific, perhaps obsolete, brand that existed only in the realm of your shared memory. This precision acts as a hallmark. It is the deceased investing energy to create a microcloud of invisible, yet sensorially tangible, molecules, with the sole purpose of calling out their name in the silence of your minds. The fleeting nature of these scents is another key. They appear with overwhelming intensity, saturating the air, and vanish in the blink of an eye, leaving no trace of their physical origin. This demonstrates that the source is not static, an object, but dynamic, an intention. The loved one is learning to modulate the vibrations of the air to mimic a complex molecular signature, an effort that proves the persistence of their communicative will. When this aroma emerges in a moment of doubt or deep sadness, it acts as an irrefutable emotional anchor. It is chemically induced comfort. It demonstrates that they can interact with matter at a basic molecular level. But if they can modulate the chemistry of the air, what happens when they focus that manipulative ability on the more volatile energy systems we have created? We move on to sign 4, electrical anomalies. Electrical systems are the Achilles heel of our dense reality, the point of least resistance to astral influence. Electrical anomalies, lights flickering for no reason, appliances turning on or off by themselves, alarms going off in impossible sequences, are the signature of a consciousness struggling to manifest its power on the physical plane. The subtle energy of the deceased in attempting to cross the dimensional membrane generates friction, and this friction is discharged into the nearest energy grid. Don't settle for explanations like wiring faults or power surges. The synchronicity of the malfunction is what reveals the intentionality. The light flickers precisely when you mention your loved one's name, or the radio turns on, playing the song that was the soundtrack of your shared life. It's a precise modulation of chaos, an act of communication through technological interruption. Here we introduce the punto de virada, the uncomfortable truth that modern metaphysics fears to admit. They are not mere passive observers, floating ethereally in the light. The deceased, driven by love and the need for connection, is actively manipulating your physical infrastructure. They are breaking the laws of thermodynamics and electricity in small doses. You have been taught that spirit is benign and distant. I tell you that it is an architect of intentional micro-chaos, testing the limits of reality to gain your attention. This manipulation is not accidental. It is proof that they have mastered the technology of energetic influence. The effort required to turn on a light or overload a circuit is monumental in astral terms. They do it because electricity is a universal language of modernity. The flickering is the attempt to stabilize that connection, a Morse code signal of spectral origin. It is confirmation that consciousness not only survives, but retains the willpower to interact with the matter they left behind. However, this forced interaction with matter is costly. It is far more efficient for consciousness to encounter itself in the field where mental control is absolute and the ego's defenses are inactive. This brings us to sign 5, dreams of visitation. Visitation. Dreams are not ordinary dreams, not the nightly processing of your grief. They are scheduled appointments on the astral plane, high-definition encounters where the consciousness of the deceased projects itself into a shared dream environment. The clarity is crystal clear, the light intense, and upon waking, the memory is so vivid that it overrides the reality of the physical world. The fundamental characteristic of these dreams is the image of wholeness. The loved one appears not as they were at the time of illness or death, but restored, healthy, often rejuvenated and radiant. This is the projection of their true state in non-locality. Freed from the limitations of the physical body, they are correcting your last image of them, replacing suffering with the vision of eternal perfection. The content of the dream is always functional and direct. There is a conversation, a clear message, an instruction, or a profound sense of peace. There is no confusion or cryptic symbolism. The message is, "I'm okay, keep going," or "I'm with you." The authority and serenity of the tone are unmistakable. Upon waking, the feeling is not one of loss, but of a temporary reunion, leaving an emotional imprint that lasts for days. Sometimes, the visitation is sealed with a direct sensory transfer. You may awaken feeling the pressure of an indescribable embrace, or catching for an instant, just before opening your eyes, the same familiar scent you perceived in sign 3. This demonstrates that the dream connection had physical consequences, that the experience was not merely mental, but an interdimensional alchemy. It is the ultimate proof that they have crossed the barrier of sleep to assure you that communication is bidirectional. We have explored the signs, from the mathematical to the sensory and the biological. All of them are instruments of a greater truth. Now, before we move forward in understanding how to respond to these signs, you must allow this new perspective to seep into the depths of your being. Let the light of understanding illuminate any remaining skepticism. Inner alchemy requires that the mind cease debating and the heart begin to listen. Feel the silence and allow certainty to blossom without rushing to conclusions. The third sign, the most intimate and often the most disconcerting, is the sudden appearance of familiar scents. This is not an olfactory hallucination or the lingering echo of a memory. We are talking about the molecularly precise perception of a specific perfume, the smoke of a particular tobacco, or the distinctive scent of damp earth or lavender that characterized your loved one, erupting in a space where, logically, such a source is non-existent. The key lies in the intensity, the immediacy, and the absolute lack of any verifiable physical origin. The scent operates as an energetic signature, a vibrational imprint that the disembodied consciousness uses to temporarily anchor its presence in our denser plane. The sense of smell, directly connected to the limbic system, bypasses the skeptical neocortex. It is the fastest route to the soul's profound recognition. This phenomenon is a manifestation of the persistence of the essence beyond matter. Consider the energetic difficulty of replicating an aromatic molecular structure without the base molecules. This involves a conscious manipulation of air vibration and ambient humidity, forcing the nasal receptor particles to react to a memory charged with intention. A generic aroma is not enough. It must be the exact nuance, the one even the conscious mind had forgotten. It is a sensory code so personalized that it can only be interpreted by the one who holds the emotional key to that particular olfactory memory. The arrival of a scent is often a temporal portal. The instant the fragrance touches the threshold of perception, the bereaved are catapulted into a moment of profound connection with the deceased. The sensation of their presence is as tangible as if they were in the same room. This experience is far more powerful than any photograph or account, for it directly defies the laws of physics that dictate the disappearance of matter and hues, consequently, of its emanations. The scent doesn't just say, "I am here." It shouts, "My vibrational identity is immortal and endures." For the investigator of the invisible, this sign serves as a bridge between the sentimental and the scientific. Could we be witnessing the spirit's ability to condense or modulate ambient energy to recreate a chemical trace? Yes, it is a demonstration of subtle power that proves that personality, the sum of habits, preferences, and, yes, smells, does not dissolve when the body dies. Familiar aromas are coded messages of immutability, promises that what we love remains intact in the ether, awaiting the precise moment to manifest itself. If consciousness can manipulate volatile particles to create the illusion of a perfume, or if it can embed such a vivid sensory memory in the air, what barriers will stop it from manipulating less dense and more malleable forces? The transition from the molecular aroma to the purely energetic electricity is logical in the economy of the spirit. The signal seeking to manifest itself, finding the barrier of matter too rigid, begins to operate in the domain of waves and fields, preparing for sign 4. Sign 4 leads us to the realm of pure energy, electrical anomalies. If the spirit is condensed consciousness, its most fluid interaction with our post-industrial world occurs through systems that operate on the same principle, electricity. This sign manifests as lights flickering for no apparent reason, newly charged batteries suddenly dying, electronic devices turning on or off by themselves, or alarms going off during moments of deep meditation or when a loved one is mentioned. It is the kinetic fingerprint of a non-physical entity. The explanation lies in the quantum physics of the spirit. The disembodied consciousness possesses a residual or projected electromagnetic field which, when superimposed on terrestrial or domestic electrical fields, creates resonance. This resonance, though minimal, is enough to destabilize sensitive circuits. It is not a random malfunction. It is the intentional modulation of the frequency. Note the correlation. These failures almost always occur when the mind of the bereaved is intensely focused, acting as an energetic beacon that facilitates the connection. The most significant manipulation is the discharge of energy into batteries. Maintaining a physical manifestation, even as brief as a flicker of light, requires a considerable expenditure of the surrounding ambient energy. By draining the charge from a device, the spirit is leaving irrefutable proof that it has interacted with physical matter in a measurable way. It is the signature of the invisible hand, evidence that challenges the materialist determinism that insists energy ceases with organic life. We must reject the comfortable notion that these are mere low-voltage coincidences or residual faults. Herein lies the unsettling truth and the turning point. These anomalies are not just messages. They are deliberate acts of disruption. The spirit, unable to be seen or heard in the noise of the world, manipulates your technology to force a pause, to shatter your bubble of indifference. It is a direct confrontation. The presence that disrupts the electrical stability of your home is a radical assertion that they are so present that they can alter the physical foundations of your daily existence. This requires an intention and an effort that negate the passivity we often attribute to the realm of the dead. They are not resting, they are working to be acknowledged. This effort to manipulate density, electricity, waves, is, however, exhausting. The spirit seeks avenues of communication that demand less energy and allow for a deeper exchange, free from the resistance of wakefulness. The solution to this dilemma of energy expenditure lies in the surrender of the logical mind. If consciousness finds no echo in the building's wiring, it will seek it in the neural wiring when it is in receptive mode, leading us to Sign 5, the journey to the dream universe. Sign 5, visitation dreams, is the primary stage for communication. When the conscious mind withdraws, the barriers of ego and criticism dissolve, allowing the brainwave frequency to descend to levels that facilitate interaction with the non-physical plane. Sleep is not merely a biological function of repair, it is an altered state of consciousness that acts as a dimensional tunnel. In this state of receptive vulnerability, the spirit finds its most expeditious path to reveal itself. It is crucial to distinguish a visitation dream from a dream induced by trauma or desire. Visitation dreams are characterized by hyper-realistic clarity, a light that belongs to the ordinary dream world. The loved one always appears healthy, rejuvenated, often wearing clothing they never wore in life, symbolizing their newfound energetic freedom. The dream narrative is simple, coherent, and possesses an unshakable logic. There is none of the fragmented chaos typical of processing dreams. The communication is direct. There are no cryptic symbols requiring complex esoteric interpretation. The message is concise: I'm fine, forgive me, find peace, or a very specific instruction regarding an unresolved matter. The tone is one of serene authority. What is most revealing is the emotional intensity upon waking. The sensation is not one of loss or sadness, but of a temporary reunion, leaving an emotional imprint that lasts for days. A certainty anchored in the chest that cannot be refuted by cold logic. Sometimes the visitation is sealed with a direct sensory transfer. You may awaken feeling the pressure of an indescribable embrace, or catching, for a fleeting moment just before opening your eyes, the same familiar scent you perceived earlier. This demonstrates that the dream connection had physical consequences, that the experience was not merely mental, but an interdimensional alchemy. It is the ultimate proof that they have crossed the barrier of sleep, to assure you that communication is bidirectional and intended to heal and guide. If the deepest truth is revealed in the subjective space of the sleeping mind, how do we validate it in the objectivity of the day? We need a language that is universal, immutable, a mathematical testament to spiritual coordination. The answer lies in the hidden order of the universe, in the sequences that compel us to pause and acknowledge the divine orchestration. Consciousness seeks to leave its mark on the binary code of reality. The last of the primary signs is numerical synchronicity, sign 6. Mathematics is the fundamental language of the cosmos, the only immutable truth that sustains the vibratory structure of reality. The spirit, lacking a physical voice, uses this universal code to confirm its presence and guide. This sign is not about random coincidences, but rather the repeated and highly improbable appearance of specific numbers linked to the loved one. Birth dates, the exact time of death, or combinations that were part of their shared history. Frequency and specificity are proof of intention. Seeing the same numerical sequence on a clock, a vehicle's license plate, a bill total, and a book page, all within a few hours, defies the laws of probability. It's an orchestration requiring the coordination of events across multiple points in space-time, a task impossible for mere chance. It's the spirit marking time, telling us, my message is real. It's encoded in the very fabric of your reality. There are sequences that transcend the personal, the so-called master numbers, 11, 11, 333, 222. These are signs of universal alignment, confirmation that not only is the spirit of your loved one present, but that an entire hierarchy of guides and higher energies is assisting in the process of communication and healing. They are green lights on the path, indicators that the vibration of your thoughts aligns with cosmic truth, an echo of divine order. The beauty of numerical synchronicities lies in their cold objectivity. While a scent can be dismissed as subjective memory and a dream as a processing of the psyche, mathematical repetition resists easy refutation. It forces the logical mind to confront a statistical anomaly. It is the bridge between the world of feeling and the world of reason, offering the objective evidence necessary to legitimize all other subtle experiences. It is the code that unlocks skepticism. We have explored the signs from the molecular aromas to the electrical anomalies, from the biological animals to the dreamlike dreams and the mathematical numbers. All of these are instruments of a greater truth. Now, before we move forward in understanding how to respond to these signs, you must allow this new perspective to seep into the depths of your being. Let the light of understanding illuminate any remaining skepticism. Inner alchemy requires that the mind cease debating and the heart begin to listen. Feel the silence and allow certainty to blossom without rushing to conclusions. Now, we raise the frequency to the final sign, the seventh anchor. the communion of hearts. This is not a sign that is received. It is a state of being that is attained when the mind surrenders to the truth of spirit. The communion of hearts is the annulment of the illusion of separation at the quantum level. It is the moment where the difference between the sender, the guiding spirit, and the receiver you dissolves, experiencing a unified consciousness of pure love. This supreme connection does not operate through intellect or fleeting emotion, but through gnosis, direct and undeniable knowledge. It occurs in Christic space, the unified energy field where linear time is meaningless. It is a surge of absolute peace that instantly replaces the emptiness of grief. Communion is evidence that souls are not isolated entities, but interconnected threads in the divine tapestry. It is the Spirit who tells us, "I am not here or there, I am where you are." For love is the matrix of our shared being. The physical sensation of this communion is often described as a sudden expansion of the chest, an inner warmth radiating from the center of the heart, or, paradoxically, a total and resonant stillness that makes the noise of the outside world fade away. It is mutual recognition through a language that needs no words, color, or form. If aromas were the first touch and numbers the map, the communion of hearts is the very arrival home, the end of the journey of doubt. The key to accessing this state is the complete relinquishment of the need for control. While we actively seek a sign, we impose a vibrational resistance. Communion only blossoms in surrender when the heart is so open that it doesn't fear the possibility of receiving nothing. Paradoxically, by releasing expectation, the channel is cleansed. It is an act of profound trust in the cosmic design and in the eternity of the bond that unites them. This seventh sign is the synthesis of all the previous ones. Every scent perceived, every electrical anomaly, every numerical synchronicity, every animal encounter was a gradual preparation for this fundamental truth. The presence of their loved one is not a memory, but a palpable reality. Communion transforms the sadness of memory into the joy of continuous presence, validating that love not only survives physical death, but is the only immortal and structuring force of the universe. Now, let's confront the final barrier, validation of experience. We've navigated 7 irrefutable signs. However, social conditioning teaches us to doubt the intangible, to label the miraculous as mere coincidence. Validation shouldn't be sought in the skepticism of others, but in unwavering internal consistency. A single sign may be dismissed, but the accumulation of subtle evidence, the scent that returns precisely when inquired about, the numerical sequence that appears in 3 different places within an hour, followed by the stillness of communion, forms a matrix of data that the logical mind can no longer ignore. True validation lies in the convergence of these points of light. It is the accumulated force that breaks the prison of skepticism. The ultimate authority on this truth is not the scientist or the skeptic, but the peace beyond understanding experienced when the connection is established. If the experience endows you with profound serenity, if it transforms your pain into firm knowledge and propels you toward compassion, then that is the ultimate validation. It is the resonance of the soul, the echo of immutable truth that certifies the authenticity of what you have experienced. By validating this experience, they assume a sacred responsibility. They cease to be mere recipients of comfort and become bridges of consciousness. The knowledge that life is eternal and love indivisible cannot be selfishly hoarded. It must manifest itself in the way they live, love, and serve. Their lives become living testimony to the continuity of the Spirit. We have reached the promised enlightenment. The synthesis is clear. The signs are not tricks of the mind, but the universal laws of energy manifesting in your personal language. You have learned to read the universe through the heart. You no longer need to believe in life after death, but know that life is simply eternal. This knowledge is the key to dissolving fear. releasing pain and walking in the light of certainty. The ultimate synthesis of this revelation is that the love you share with spirit is not a sentimental possession, but the very infrastructure of reality. You are not visiting your loved ones. You are inhabiting the dimension they occupy through the vehicle of consciousness. Separation is an optical illusion of the ego, but union is the fundamental law of the cosmos. Now that you have navigated through the 7 portals and validated your inner experience, I pose a profound question for your personal reflection. Which of these 7